Well, here I am. How you doing? My name's Jim Craker, and I'm making this video in response, I guess, to a post I put out there about are we progressing or are we regressing in the spiritual world? And I got a lot of different responses, talked to a lot of different people, had some good conversations, and it was kind of my own non-scientific scientific study. And then I was going to sit down and give my opinion on what I thought. And the more I thought about it, the harder it got to decide what to tell. And so I'm making this video, and I'm actually going to start with the ending of what I was going to write about. There is a big division. It doesn't matter if it's political. You pick a topic, there's no middle ground. And I keep asking myself, why? Why? And I had a conversation with someone, and they brought up there are some teachings about we will become faceless ones and soulless ones. And that's what we are. I'm doing this video. It's about midnight. Had a long day. I'm who I am. I'm a human being. My name is Jim Craker. I'm a pagan, and I believe in animism. Now, I could have chose to type, put up an avatar of something. I could have used a filter and made it look like I'm not even who I am. And that's what we become as a society, faceless. I'm sitting here talking to a computer looking at myself. That's what we become. Everybody can agree on that. And I'm wondering, how do you get a message out there? How? Some people know me. We've talked. Some people don't. Most of the people I've talked to have been typewritten on a computer or through chats. We have lost our humanity. And I'm wondering how to, what to say, what to do, how to convey anything. And the other night on the way home from work, and I'm driving down the road, and it's not a real fast speed limit there, and I'm thinking, and an eagle, a bald eagle, just out of the corner, come down like that, and flew in front of me for a while and took off. Now, some people say, I seen this, is that a sign? I seen this, is that a sign? Well, I can tell you, where I live, there might be 4 bald eagles within 50 miles. So for me to see a bald eagle in front of me, I would have had left work at the exact time. The stoplight I hit, too many things had to happen for me to see that eagle at at that precise time, and it flew ahead of me a little bit, and then it curved off. I've been thinking about that. Who better to say what needs to be said than the Spirit, than the cosmos, than God? Some of you know me, and I always say I live by the runes. And this is a good example, I guess. I don't like doing tests, but I'm going to read the runes, and it's going to come from the cosmos. It's going to come from the ancestors. It's going to come from someone other than me. I'm going to mention a little bit about the runes. A lot of people don't know what they are. And within the people that use runes in the different wheels in different ways, there's divisions. There's sometimes fights. So before I even start with the runes, if I mispronounce it because I live in America, then I mispronounce it. But I do know the runes work. The runes that I have, I made. They're from wood. I've done rituals. So to me, they have their own soul, their own energy, and that's animism. Everything has a soul, everything has an energy, and we can communicate with it, and that's the basis. If you don't believe that, you don't believe it. That's fine. I'm fine with that. If you want to criticize me about how I do something, that's fine. And that all comes from us not being able to sit here face to face and talk and discuss. Now people just discuss and you put an opinion. This one types in caps, oh, you're screwed up, you're this. That's what we've become. Excuse me. So for me, when I don't know what to do, I call on the runes, I call on the spirits, I call on the ancestors, give me guidance. So what I'm going to do is, there's a lot of people out there, they channel, they have messages from this person, they have messages from this planet, they have messages from this race. If that works for them, that's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show what a rune reading, how I do it, and the message I give. And the question I'm going to ask. And my whole intent is Mother Nature, cosmos, everything seeks balance. Sometimes it's painful. More often than not, it's painful. So I'm going to ask for advice. What can we do just to help clear the divisions, if they can even be cleared? What needs to be done to help bring humanity back to balance? Now, I found the runes are honest, and they're brutally honest sometimes. I'll be honest, I don't know if it's going to say there's nothing we can do, because some people said we got to go through nothing but chaos before and after the dust settles, figure out after that. That may be true. I don't know. But what I want to do is put this out there. And the cycle is too much law and order creates chaos. Too much chaos, you need law and order. There's got to be a balance. So what is the message that the cosmos, the great creator, the spirits, our ancestors, our guardians, the ascended ones, what are they trying to tell us that we need to do? And before I really get started, I would just suggest you might want to get a pencil and paper. You hit the pause, whatever, get a pencil and paper, because a normal rune reading can take a half hour to an hour. I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can. But I think if everybody would write this down and then sit down and think about it, and throughout your life, throughout the day, throughout the next 6 months, throughout the next year, if you apply this, just this one, as a collective, this will help prepare, this will help guide us in what the cosmos is saying needs to be done, what needs changed, and then we can each work as an individual on changing these things, and maybe if we do something, just that little thing will rub off on somebody. Just that little thing will help them prepare. Just that little thing. And I'm going to take just a personal note here. A while back, I went into Sheets's to get a coffee. I walked in there. Everybody's 6 foot apart. Some had their masks on, some didn't. Went over to get my coffee, and there was an elderly lady, I don't know, 80. Kind of looked lost. All these people are running around. And I looked at her, I walked over, I said, "Do you need some help?" She goes, "My husband's sick and he always gets coffee." And she said, "I'd never been in here, don't even know how to use a coffee machine." I said, "Okay." So I walked over, got some paper towels because I didn't want to spread my germs. She goes, "Don't worry about it." I said, "You'll get my germs." She goes like this. All right, reach down. What does he like? Black, large. I got her the coffee, put it on there. Gave her the coffee. I went around, got in line. She grabbed some donuts or something. Then she went over to the machine to order, and she looked at it like she was lost. All these people around there, and I looked, and I'm in line, and I went over and I said, having trouble with it. She goes, I don't know anything. He wants 2 hot dogs. I punched in the hot dogs, did that. She said thank you, and as she looked, she goes, my husband's a preacher, a retired preacher, and we can sometimes give up hope on humanity. And she says, you're an angel and all this and that. And she goes, you did me good. And I says, no, you actually did me good. Because I used to be a preacher, believe it or not, raised in that. And I see on the internet, Christians, they burned us at the stake, blah, 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 let's start a war with them. See, division. We're humans. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe that, you can still treat each other with respect. And we have been taught, don't respect. It's your way or no way. So she did me good. And so hopefully this reading will point out things like that. We need to get back to humanity. Now, along with the runes, I have a deck of Yggdrasil's Norse divination. And for me to understand the runes deep, you need to understand the Norse mythology because they go hand in hand. And these cards, they represent the different deities, the different entities, different handmaidens and stuff. And it kind of narrows things down. And I'm doing this just to show you what a rune reading is. But I'm also doing it so that you can form your own opinion as, this is a system that works. There are many different rune spreads, different layouts. I've used what I call as the 9 realms. In Norse mythology, there's 9 realms. These realms represent everything that it takes to make a physical world, the human world, who we are. If you think about it, and it doesn't matter what mythology and pantheon you believe in, a god or a goddess or this can only do one thing. Thor is the god of thunder. That's what he is. That's what he does. He cannot be human. But all the traits, if you put them together, all these realms make us a human. There are energies that want to work for human. There are entities and energies that want to work against. That's just the way it is. So this is going to tell us what's working for us, what's working against us, and it gives us a roadmap that we can go by so that in our everyday life, when something confronts us, hey, that's a problem that we need to fix. I need to do this more, or I need to not do this as much. So what I do, I'm not going to get all into the big, deep ritual. We've all heard this saying, as above, like I said, I'm going to try and keep this short, but people don't understand it. But I think once they understand a little bit and see what goes on, as above, so below. As within, so without. And I'll call unto the Norns, Odin for wisdom, the ancestors, guides, and spirit to show us what we need to know at this time so that we can try and do what's necessary and be prepared for what it needs to take to be balanced as a community, as a society, and as a world. Okay, the center, I'm going to turn what I look like as a port. I'm going to turn the camera down so maybe we can get a little better look at, you have to pardon me here. There we go. At the spread. The center represents Midgard or Earth or humans. It represents the physical world. So this is what is going on right now. This rune is called Dagaz. Dagaz is the god Dagaz, or daybreak, or dawn. In the physical world, the sun comes up, and they say it's darkest just before the dawn. It is also basically the yin-yang, perfect balance between light and darkness, perfect balance and understanding. Dagaz, for right now, is the aha moment. I got it. I understand. I'm coming out of the darkness into the light. So right now, collectively and spiritually, that's what we're looking at, is what can we do spiritually as a I'll say global world community. Right now, the runes are saying, everybody's saying, I got it, I understand it. Aha. We understand we're messed up. We understand we've been out of balance. We're going to be coming into a balance. It's that aha moment. And this card, and if you look, if you get them, they're black and white. I've taken the time to color them and work with them and get my energy into them. That card is, it's hard to, like I said, I'm not brought up in this. It's Finordia. He represents temperance. He can control the elements, earth, wind, air, and fire. But just because he can control them doesn't mean that he uses them to their full force. So in order to maintain balance spiritually, yes, spiritually there are people that can call down, well, I'm going to say, hell and destruction. There are people that force their will on other people through magic, through spirituality. What this combination is telling us, in order to maintain the balance, the yin and yang, the perfect aha, I understand this time, don't go overboard. Don't push your beliefs. Don't push what you think. And in that post I put out there and asked, are we going backwards or forwards? There seems to be a great division between what's called cultural appropriation. I can tell you now, I've spent time with American Indians. I was in the military for 8 years, had roommates that were, talked to them. They had the medicine bag there. We respected each other. And I fully understand there's no way I'm going to sit here and light a fire and bang a drum and say I'm going to do an American Indian dance. I wasn't brought up in that culture. I understand that. But what I can do is understand them. And I know for a fact that any religious leader, it doesn't matter if it's, I talked to them in Japan, in Okinawa, in Korea. I talked to them going up Mount Fuji when I climbed it. I've talked to all kinds. If you're interested, soulfully interested, the true ones that are spiritual, they don't care what the color of your skin is, who you are, they will teach you. That's something to think about. Sometimes we might have to come off our high horses, and I'm doing this, and you're not doing that. You are mimicking. So we got to find a balance between teaching spiritually and our pride. So that's temperance. Don't overdo it. Find a balanced ground. So right now, that's what the gods, everybody's telling us. We're going to be back. We can balance. We can get out of the darkness into the light. We understand it. But take time. Take time to listen. The higher realm, Asgard, if you're into the Norse, that's where Odin sets up his throne. That's a place where nobody goes but Odin. He can't sit on his throne. This is their hopes, our fears. This is collectively what's going through the collective conscious. Yira. Okay, you cannot reverse Yira, but the way I read it, and that it was upside down. People say you don't read them. Right now, Yira represents, that's where we get our root words and words for year. A yearly cycle. It's something that's going to take time. You plant a tree today, it takes 20 years to grow. 40, 50, 200. So a cycle. And right now, the way that come out, people say you don't read them that way. I found you can. We are, as a society, as a spiritual society, we are reaping not the good things, the bad things we've sowed. Not just past the past year, over how long. We are now reaping the things that we sowed. Rather than sowing cords of harmony and together, we've created divisions. This card is Fulla. Okay, she is Frigg's handmaiden. And Frigg is Odin's wife. She knows all the secrets. She's like her handmaiden. She knows what Frigg knows, but she doesn't tell. So what that's saying is, there's people that have known knowledge, known wisdom, known the magic, known the spirituality, but they've kept it to a secret to themselves. Rather than spreading it, they would form, I'll say, monasteries. They would form covens. Oh, we got this top secret mission, this knowledge. We're not going to pass it on. Well, how much of that knowledge would have helped keep us balanced? So we are reaping exactly what we sowed, not passing on the old traditions. Why? Because you're not the same color as my skin. I'm not going to teach you. By not teaching, not spreading, it's lost. So now you have people running around faceless, soulless, they're lost. The land of the ice giants. In Norse mythology, the giants have one eye. They're neither good nor bad. They just represent different forces, different that. There was, for those that you know Norse mythology, there was giants that even Thor couldn't kill. They represent unstoppable forces, forces of physics, forces of laws, no matter how, of nature, no matter how much you try and stop it. But it also represents us. And what happens is people got that one eye and they say, this is what I want. They don't care. They step right over it. They'll smash this guy's farmhouse. They'll step on this. They'll go over there. They don't realize what they're doing because they're focused on one thing. So ourselves as a collective, I'm going to say spiritual, this is what it's telling us. Urus. The rune Urus comes from, it means arachnod, which is an extinct bull or a extinct buffalo type thing. It had 6-foot horns. So if you could imagine a wild buffalo with 6-foot horns, full of power, full of stamina, full of vitality. I don't know if you've ever seen buffalo fight, the two big bulls. They'll fight for hours and hours, make up a dust cloud, unpredictable. So this is a community in the spiritual world. We've been fighting ourselves, our pride. Unpredictable. My way's the right way. I'm sorry, I hit the... My way's the right way. We have been... Everybody's about gaining power. You know, the Catholic Church is the most powerful. Oh, this religious group is the most powerful. I know the most powerful spell. So we have been, as an individuals in that, seeking the power. This card, like I said, I have a very hard time. You'll have to... is the bridge that crosses between life and death. When you die in Norse mythology, there's different places you go. One of them is hell, and it's not the burning hell, it's just the underground. This is the bridge that crosses between life and death. And if you think about it, that's what spirituality does. Spirituality and religion tries to bridge the gap between life and death, and what happens in the afterlife. And I'm going to tell you right now, you might not want to hear this, this is where the runes are true. There ain't no one can tell you what happens after death. I want you to stick that in. People have different belief systems, and their way is right. Their way is there's 100 different ways. But at the end of the day, it's actually what makes your soul feel good, what makes you at peace. That is what spirituality is in a nutshell. What happens after we die? The cavemen, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, they ask the same question, what happens? This is a way, spirituality and what guides us is a way to, I'll say, comfort us so we can go through life knowing that what happens after death, we're just not going to end up in the ground. People don't want to admit that. There's nobody that can actually prove it. There's people that have died and said they seen this, they died. Yeah, just turn the camera down. Sorry about that. They have died and had near-death experiences, but then the scientific community says, well, that's just all this stuff triggering within us. But what happens is between the religious communities, they're fighting. My way's the right way. You can't, see, we can't even come together. That's just something to think about. And what that is in danger of destroying, on the other side of the fire, or on the other side of ice, the opposite is the fire. Fire, if left unattended, you know what happens. It will destroy, it will wipe out. It's a living, breathing creature. It strives to, you know, a little cigarette butt in an ashtray could catch on fire, which catches the curtains on fire. Next thing you know, your whole house is gone. Not only the house, if you had dry grass outside, it'd burn the grass up into... So this attitude of my religion, my thing, is separating us. What it is in danger of destroying is right here, Gibo. Gibo is the mutual and beneficial exchange of energy. People go, wow, what's that mean? Very simple. Very simple. I do something. I'm sitting here, spending my time and energy doing this. If people listen to it and it helps them, that's mutual energy. If I go out and show the neighbor's sidewalk and they reach out and say thank you, that's mutual exchange of energy. You go to work for so many dollars an hour, you make whatever, you make a product for your boss whatever, he pays you at the end of the pay period, you get, that's mutual and beneficial exchange of energy. But that's a question. Is it mutual and beneficial? The worker always says, I want more. So what we are in danger of losing is the mutual and beneficial energy that we can all solve spiritually. Because each one thinks they have the spiritual right. Instead of coming together and saying, let's pull our spiritual goodness together, the things that are good, and share this knowledge. We're in danger of losing that. Right here, Elfran, I'm sorry. She is the queen of the elves. And in the elf realm, the elves represent the ascended masters, the guardians, the guides. That's what they represent. They are people that have lived as a human and then went on and they've cleared their karmic debt and went on, and now they are here to help humanity. She represents the divine feminine intellect. Humanity has what divine feminine and divine masculine is, in my opinion, and a lot of others, all messed up. So we are in danger spiritually of losing what it means to be divine feminine. I'm going to leave it there because I'm just showing you that. So if you want to look up what is true divine feminine and study on it, then you'll form your opinion. And with divine feminine, if the divine feminine gives to the divine masculine, you are perfect balance. Each one of us has feminine and each one of us has masculine in us. Because of the bullheadedness, which is masculine, the masculine is overpowering spiritually the divine feminine. The divine feminine is in danger of being lost and consumed. So that's something to think about. I always say most of the time, 99% of the time, people work on emotions. Everything is emotion based. What you buy, oh, it's shiny, I love this, I do that, they don't think of anything. This realm, the realm of the dwarfs, they represent our emotions, our deep down emotions. This word, or this rune, I'm sorry, Awaz, means team. It's symbolized by the horse and rider. Now, I used to work with horses, shoe horses, train horses, and I can use this, and this is personal experience. A horse's bit is in his mind. If that horse trusts you, that horse will go through fire for you. I used to ride horses. I had finally got one where I could mess with them a little bit with no bit. No bit, no bridle, and no nothing. Just leg pressure. That horse trusted me. I trusted him. That is trust between two people. Now we're talking spiritually collective. But if you look, it looks like the letter M. The symbol for the self is the I, Isa. You can look it up. If you look, the two come in the middle. In order to have a team, you both have to compromise. and pull. If you think about a team pulling a plow through the field, if one doesn't pull equally to the other, you're going to go crooked. That's why they have eveners, so one can't pull more than the other. So what this is saying, emotionally, we got to put our emotions back. We got to put who we are. Oh, it feels good. And right here, Ewas is totally opposite on the rune wheel. So this is saying we are not working as a team spiritually to bring the collective conscious up of the world spiritually. We are doing the total opposite. On the opposite of emotions is logic. We have to use our logic. We have to use our wisdom. You can't be a robot. You do need emotions. So right now, spiritually, our emotions are working against us. This card, volley. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok, you can look it up. It basically is the end of the Norse existence, except for a few gods and goddesses who rebuild the Midgard and rebuild a whole new society. Volley is one that survives Ragnarok and reconciles and tries to make the peace in this and bring everything together. So what this is saying is it's time for us spiritually to reconcile with each other. I had a good conversation with a Christian lady. I've had Seventh-day Adventists. I've had Mormons. You name it, I've had them. I enjoy talking to them. I understand them because I grew up in that. I understand how they feel. I needed to be on that path for so many years because I can understand it. I can carry on a conversation respectfully. I know of, different churches and stuff. They would go out and picket different things. And then the next thing you know, the places they're picketing want to start a war with them. No, they're saying it's time to reconcile. It's time to forget your differences and admit that this world is messed up. As much as we don't want to work together, we have to. There's people at work you hate, but you still work with them to get the product out. For the greater good of the cosmos, we need to reconcile, put our differences apart. Logically, what's happening? Nothos. Nothos is what is called the need fire. In the cave days, people needed fire. And if you look, it looks like two sticks rubbing together. If you didn't make the fire, you froze. Nothos has a bunch of different meanings. One of them is not this shit again. I throw that out there. And that's what we're doing. You go to talk to somebody and they automatically start criticizing you because, oh, you practice yoga and that ain't right, and the way you do it isn't right. You need to do it my way. And here we go, not this shit again. Instead of coming and finding a common ground, we're fighting. That was reversed, and we're not doing that. Nothos also represents the will. If you're on a boat and that boat's sinking, you have three choices. Sit there and cry and say, oh my God, I'm going to drown. You can pull your will, your desires, you can pull your will for life. You can pull on your knowledge and say, I need to do this. I need to grab a bucket. It doesn't look like it's going to work. I need to stop this. Or you can call on somebody else's help. That's the only three things that are going to get us out of this situation. Sit down and go, oh, it's all over with. I'm going to die. Or we need to get up and do something about it. That's logical. Manny. Manaz. Now, I was talking about divine masculine and divine feminine. In the Norse, Mani means mankind. It means moon, Manaz. It's where it all comes from. The moon is a reflection of the sun. The sun is called Soilo, which is feminine. The feminine energy heats the earth up. We are the womb. The earth is the womb. Manaz is the reflection of our soul. Now this is Manaz. This is pretty good. This is Manaz, and over here is the symbol for Manaz. Manaz is the most complicated rune in the runes. It's made up of, if you look it up and put your thumb there, it's a mirror image of itself. On each side you have two pillars sticking up, Isa, which represents the self. You can have two people, you can have two anything. If you look at it, part of it is Ewas. You have to meet in the middle. If you look at it, we talked about Gibo. Gibo's in there. Dogaz is in there. And the other rune that's in there, I'm sorry, you have Logos in there, which is life-giving. You also have Wunyo, which is joy. Now you can take half of it, you can be perfectly joyful by yourself. You can be, but if you want to be joyful with other people and joyful, you must have the mutual exchange of energy, the respect for each other, the understanding. You have to have Dagos. All this has to come together. So this is in its own realm. Manaz is in Manaz. Uwas is opposite of Uwas. What it's saying is we need, this is the cosmos, we need to put our differences aside, work together, and you will find out how joyful, how peaceful, how wonderful it is to exchange knowledge, be respectful of each other. That's our logic. The higher, as we're working our way around, the land of the mist. The mist is where, if you think of a fog, where fire and ice meet, heat and cold, you get fog and mist. You can't see it, but there's something coming out of it. The thing with the mist is what you put into it is what you're coming out. Coming out of the mist, this is what it's producing. All this stuff, all together, this is what it's producing. This rune is Thorazaz. Thorazaz means thorns. It also means Thor. If you're into Norse mythology, you know the story about Thor. But if you think way back, when a man was in a cave and in his cave and needed fire, he had his fire going, he had this, he was good to go, he was safe. He had to protect himself. He would go out and get what? All these big thorns, anything he could to cover that entrance. To keep what? The things he didn't want in out. What's coming from what we have produced is more defense. People are more defensible. They are more, I don't want you here. I'm going to do it my own way. There was a comment on one of the posts. The guy, I'm not quoted. I'm not, no. But he's, not just him, but a bunch of people. This is the way I'm doing it. I'm not changing it. And that's the way it is. And if you don't like it, you can go screw yourself. Well, that's fine. I respect that opinion. But if you have that such a defensive up, and you think your way is the only way and the right way, how can you grow? So we're not going to grow as long as we are defensive to each other, not understanding. What we need, Nathaz across, Hulin. She's the goddess that reassures and protects. When a little kid falls down, what's the first thing it does? And we were talking about feminine energy right here. If you look at there here, the feminine energy, the feminine intellect. First thing a baby does is run for its mommy. I want my mommy. I want my mommy. Mommy reached down. Oh, it's okay. Kiss your boo-boo. Oh, thank you, mommy. Away to go. Children need reassurance. Children aren't getting it. They're getting sent away. They're being born into families that don't want them, getting adopted out. Kids are just being treated like they're nothing. Spiritually, people want reassurance. And that's what's coming. And that's why we're so defensive. My way's right. I want to be sure before I do something. So what's coming out is reassurance. I don't know how that's going to play. If we do all this, then if we change this and we don't be so bullheaded, the cosmos is going to say, see, I told you, things are going to work out. The higher self, the land of the elves, which is your, right here, if you look, she's down here. The ascended masters, the ones that have lived as humans, the ones that went on and are spiritual guides and guardians and that. This is what they're telling us from their experiences. Berkano. Berkano is the birch goddess. It means birth. The problem is with birth, and this was not upright. The problem is with birth, there's a chance of death. That's feminine energy. In the old days, I don't know what it was in the cave days. In order to bring life into the world, there was a good chance that the woman would die. Women weren't looked down on, they were revered for bringing life into this world. Women aren't weak, they're strong. I was in the military. I know women up there could outdo a lot of guys, okay? They were important. So in order to understand the life-death cycle, understand what it actually means to be reborn and birthed, you may have to die to your old ways. You may have to die and change your attitude. Grimnir. They're saying he is the god that tries to balance the opposites. He's always torn between logic and this. He's always torn between fire and ice. He's always torn. And they're saying, until Berkano, we're not going to get any rebirth until we learn how to balance our total look on everything. Now, hell is where the root of the problem is. It's at the base of the world tree. The one thing about hell, the goddess Hel, she's the only god that keeps her word. Once you die, you ain't coming back. There's a story where they tried to get Balder back, if you're into the Norse. So the root of the problem is this. Kanaz. Just as you have wildfire, and if you look here, Kanaz is here. and I'm not going to get into it deep because I could do 45 runes, read it, or do the 45s and do different. Kanaz, just as we have all the fires. No, we don't. I'm sorry. We don't have Fehu. Just as you have the fire that consumes, you need the fire. Kanaz is the controlled fire, which means you put a fire ring around the fire pit so it doesn't get out there. Kanaz also means the art of applied knowledge. The basic meaning is beacon and torch, which that means controlled fire. Instead of a raging fire, you have that. Man learned how to control fire and not let it get out of control. We have to ask ourselves, the root of the problem is spiritually, cosmosally. Can we do this as a community? Can we? Can we come together and share knowledge? Can we pass on what we do without being prejudiced? Can we say this is the only way to do it? There's there are a few things you have to ask yourself when you ask yourself, can we? One, do you have the desire to do it? If you don't have the desire, you're not going to do it. Do you have the means to do it? Well, we do have the means. Right now, this here thing, I don't know, it could reach how many billion people. We do have the means. And I talked to a lady, I said, you know what, she has some good knowledge. I said, get on there and make a video. Everybody else and their brother is. Maybe this little bit of knowledge will spread. Today everybody's into the, oh, I got to have a great big production. I'm sorry, it's 12:47 right now. I don't even have I'm just me. I'm Jim Craker. If you want to talk to me, this is me. If you don't, can I do it? Well, if I can sit here and do it, there ain't nobody else in this world that can. Do you have the means to do it? Well, I went out and I got to be a little computer. I've never been into computers much. I have to have my wife or my granddaughter or somebody set this stuff up. So I used my knowledge and my wisdom to get somebody to help me. Nathos, get somebody to help you. You know, them are the things. Can I do it? Do I have the knowledge to do it? If the answer is no, don't give up. Study. Get into the books. I'm telling you now, don't take my opinion for none of this. I don't want you to. I want you to take this, like I said, if you write it down and you think about it for a couple weeks or you look at it, go and listen to other people what they're saying. Invest your own time. Today we live in a society where somebody sees something, they get on, punch in their credit card. Well, they get paid, it goes direct deposit, punch in their credit card, it's delivered to their doorstep on rush order the next day. They have no patience, no yearly cycle. There is nothing. Patience. That's what we need to learn, and but can we do it? Do you have the will, desire, the means? Those that are into North, Erie. She's the goddess of healing. When I do any rune work to heal, that's the goddess you heal. That's the goddess you call on. She's the healer. The root of the problem is, are we saying, can we heal? I don't know, can we? If we don't do anything, we know what's going to happen. So the cosmos, this wasn't Jim Craker, this was the runes, this was everybody, guardian angels, everything, saying this is what the problem is. It's up to us. The root of the problem is us, right there. Can we heal the divisions? Can we heal our pride? Can we come together? If we don't, spiritually and humanity, the balance is going to be taken. It's going to happen. Mother Nature makes sure of that. The cosmos makes sure of that. Are we spiritually ready to reconcile? Well, that took, what, about 50 minutes? I'm sorry. No, I'm not. That was a message from Spirit. That wasn't Jim Craker, whether you want to believe it or not. You've seen nothing pre-planned. We just laid the runes out. That's how the runes work. I live and really live by them. So from now on, I'm going to apply this. I'm going to apply this to my life in a spiritual sense. There can be healing. Can we do it? Yeah. Can I do it alone? No. This is collectively. We need to menage. We need to reflect what our soul really wants. Our soul doesn't want division. Our soul wants happy. We have to reconcile the differences, the opposites. Within ourself, if we don't reconcile them within ourself, how can we expect the rest of the world to be reconciled? All right, thank you. I'm going to upload this video and then share it on the sites that I posed that question to. I'm trying to get the word out there, and I'll probably upload it. I'm just telling you, to YouTube. If you liked it, hit the like and share, and we'll just see where it goes from there. Thank you very much, and may be happy, and the gods bless you. Thank you.